Hi, my name is Gabrielle Baumgartner, and I am your student's Intro to Digital Art teacher. In this class, they're going to primarily be doing computer art projects, and I love teaching this class. I think it's so fun for them to get to learn all of these different skills and techniques. This is a picture up front with me and my doggo, and I showed this to them on the first day. Within this class, I also use this idea of studio habits of the mind to help them focus on things beyond just the materials that they're using. So things like I can communicate with other artists and learning those good ways of receiving and giving the constructive feedback that they need. Those are the kind of goals that are usually going to be at the top of your Canvas page. After this class, they are able to take several other classes, including the digital design or digital illustration class, as well as the VisCom class in photo. Throughout all of these, that can actually lead to an AP class where they would gain AP credit for passing that class according to the College Board standards. Within this class, we do lots of different things, starting off with walking the walk before you can, or sorry, talking the talk before you can walk the walk, messed up my phrasing there, and learning the elements and principles of art. These are standard across all of our art classes, so by learning these, not only are they learning the different vocabulary that they can use in my class, but they are also getting a step ahead if they are to take another art class as well. From there, we move into our photo unit. We do two different photos in my class. The first one is what you would consider like portrait or street photography, where we're really just learning to make sure that our photos have good aesthetics. And then the second one is going to be really more abstract and creating a good principle of design, like this one that you see off to the side. Then we move on to the digital illustration portion. In this portion, we're really focused in on learning how to use the Wacom tablets and being sure that we have good control over our pen to the tablet that connects to the screen. We've done a variety of different projects that go along with this, but typically we do kind of like a skill builder and then move on to the bigger project. After that, I move on to typography, which is going to take place in Illustrator, where the previous ones took place in Photoshop. Illustrator is a different beast when you're looking at the way that it functions. So switching it up kind of in the middle of the trimester, I think is really good for them to learn that they can do two very, very different things. With typography, they're learning the differences between not just the type, but also how Illustrator functions as a whole. From there, they get a little bit more advanced in their skills, learning how to create logos. This is a process where they work with somebody else in the room, kind of as if they were working with an actual business, which is how something like this would actually go for graphic designers, working with a client. Then they develop a series of different logos, and we choose the best for them to develop in full on Illustrator. From time to time, we have a little bit of extra time within this class, and so when I can, I try to squeeze in this unit, which is collage, and they're definitely more abstract collage. This can be just like a fun thing for them to experiment with Photoshop and some of the skills that they've already learned before they get into their big final project. I also talk a little bit about what is and is not okay for you to use in your artwork when it comes to being able to take photos from the internet in this class, or in this project as well. The last thing we do is the infographic. And with this infographic, you're combining everything that you've learned, and the students really have a lot of autonomy over how that these come out. They choose the topic, they choose the things that go into the topic, what they draw, and then what I'm actually assessing is making sure that it has good aesthetics, like making sure it sticks to a certain color scheme, making sure they're only choosing 2 fonts, making sure that everything has enough room to breathe and is visually appealing without being cluttered or gapping anywhere. And that's essentially the class. When you are looking at this class at a glance, or if you ever want to see this PowerPoint again, you can find that in the class syllabus. That is linked on the bottom left side of the navigational part of our Canvas page. This syllabus, the biggest and most important thing would be the fact that we do projects in this class. It's a very project-based class, and they need to be at school primarily to get those things done. It is really hard to make up this class at home. Luckily, we do have core time, and that is stationed in my homeroom. I'm not always in my homeroom throughout the day, but for core, I always try to make sure I'm there for them in the room with the computers that they need to work with. The Canvas page as a whole is pretty straightforward and very similar to some of the other classes. where you got your homepage agenda front and center with all of the navigational buttons that are going to be standard across our school. Past weeks will be located in the past weeks as well. So far we only have one, and that's where it is. Please let me know if you guys ever have any questions or need anything. Thank you so much for listening.